What's up, guys? This is That One Apple Guy back at it again, another video. Hopefully you guys like the new kind of backdrop here on the videos. Just thought I'd clean it up a little bit. So yeah, I was getting to look a little bit messy, and the videos, I get more views and everything, more subscribers. Just figured, make the quality a little bit better. This phone is the Galaxy A10e. This guy was released in sometime in 2019. And QR code. We're gonna set this guy up and see if it's still usable in 2025. I thought I already made a video about this just because I did the A11 and the A12, but I guess I didn't. I believe the last one I did was in 2024, late 2024, but yeah, I didn't make like the still usable one. So let's go ahead and set this up. Before we do, let's look at this design real quick. So in the back here, it's just gonna be all plastic, kind of a glossy type look here. Which the gloss does get scratched very easily.
Continue holding the screen with 2 fingers until you hear a beep.
What is going on? Anyways, yeah, it scratches super easily. This thing, let me turn the flash on. Okay, flash and macro. So as you can see, super scratched up. It got like, I lost the phone for a little while, and when I was at my old place, it went under the couch, and the floor was kind of gritty. Had a little bit of a grit to it, so it just scratched the living hell out of this phone. So yeah, that's kind of how these things scratch. Very bad. I would definitely recommend a case. I had this phone since 2019, and where did I put this case? Couldn't tell you. All right, here. I've had this body glove case since, but I didn't have the case on them. But this is actually a really nice case. I don't know if Body Glove is out of business or something, but I haven't seen their cases in so long. So, yeah, if you get this phone, I definitely go on my car or eBay and just grabbing one of these Body Glove cases because they're pretty good. But single camera, flash, barely, there's like no camera bumps, so zero rockage. So that's definitely a plus compared to like these big camera bumps of today. I'm recording on my biggest camera bump phone, but Motorola, for instance, they have these massive camera bumps now, and there's just tons of rock. But they aren't nearly as big as the iPhone ones, which I'm recording on. But so I can't show you that. But right side here, just your power and volume, so you're not going to be getting any sort of fingerprint. Up top, mic. To the left, SIM and SD card slot towards the bottom. Headphone jack, definitely a plus to see that. A USB-C port, which only charges at 15 watts, unfortunately. And then we're also getting a noise-canceling mic and a single firing speaker. But you can't really have all your hopes and dreams. This screen actually has a nice oleophobic coating. It's before they went to the bad oleophobic coating. So it's actually very easy to clean. Very easy to clean. You just wipe it. The fingerprints will come up, but not nearly as bad as something like the A12 or the A11 series. So definitely not a bad screen. Of course, mine's wearing away just because it's getting old. But yeah, so overall not bad for the coating on the screen, but it does scratch also. But it's just because it's a screen. So let's go ahead and set this up. Let's hit start. Let's agree to what we need to agree to. Skip. Let me connect to my Wi-Fi. I can turn on feedback on here just so we can see the vibration motor. Touch feedback, vibration. Ooh. Yeah. Should have turned that off. That's actually a really bad vibration motor. I'm actually gonna turn that off just because of how bad that is. So yeah, yuck. Honestly, I'm trying to clean up around here, and I have like a million of these little towels. Like there's tons of these. I have so many. It's absolutely freaking crazy. But anyways, back to this. Come on. This is doing its thing. I do want to show you guys something. So, you guys, all of you know the Moto Razr, right? The best phone. Well, Straight Talk doesn't sell the 2024 variant anymore. Watch. At least at my store. Come on, load. They have gone to the... Make sure I don't throw anything that's bad here. Nope. They have gone to the 2025 variant, the 256 gig. Basically the same phone, just with a little bit different design. That's blue now instead of gray. But pretty much the same. 350 from 600. So actually a really good deal. I might pick it up maybe sometime in the future. But right now I'll just use the 2024 variant because it's basically the same thing. I believe the 25 just has a little bit different processor, but it's nothing, you know, unbelievably better. And I believe they have the same exact camera setup and everything like that. So not time to upgrade yet, but this is, I've been using this as my secondary and using the A16 is my third phone. And so far, knock on wood, this thing's holding up great. Like the hinge, the screen's holding up great. I do get a screen protector on it. So far, but again, knock on wood, stuff can happen down the road. I love this phone though. The camera, very good. Speed's fine. It's good enough for me. Everything's just nice on this phone. It's pretty fluid. Unfortunately, it's still on Android 14 for the time being, but it should get the update. And it's just pretty cool to have a folding phone. I like it, so. Anyways, back to the video. Set up apps and data. Oh, God, let me hit the back button. Copy apps and data, no. Google account. Come on. I'm going to go ahead and sign into this bad boy. Take all my information, Google. Not a problem. Not a problem. Totally. As you can see, there's no sort of fingerprint sensor on this phone, but there is face recognition. I didn't think there was. Honestly, I thought it was just the pattern pin or password, but it does. So we're going to try that out and see how that works. Let's make a super secure pin. I'm going to try this out. Say hi to the camera once it comes up. Boy, is that slow. Do you wear glasses? No, I do not. All right. Scan, scan, scan. All right, I got my face registered. They're going to start sending that out to China now and just selling all my information. Nah, I'm just kidding. Samsung. But... okay, let's see. Faster recognition. You can require open eyes, so we get some sort of theft protection on this. One thing is I would not trust the face recognition. This is a cheap budget phone. I'm not sure if a picture would fool it. It might. So I wouldn't go really like, oh, like, this is going to be, you know, a lifesaver. If, you know, iPhone's face recognition, you know, it actually has some sensors in here, as you can see. You can see it has like some sensors that actually measure like the face, like these three right here, and then it also does some camera recognition. I'm not sure how it does it, but it does it. So yeah, anyways, yeah, I would not trust this for like everything. Let's see if it works. Cool. Hey blank, I'm not saying it because all you guys Google Homes are gonna go off. Some Samsung bloat. This is just your usual crap. And it's going to get my phone ready for 10 or so years. While this is happening, I really want to say thank God that this thing has a USB-C port. For a 2019 budget phone, that's actually really good. This is first time when, you know, Samsung was really trying to get into that USB-C grind. And that's impressive for having USB-C. Good for you, Samsung, you know. A lot of other manufacturers like Motorola and stuff are doing USB micro. We did have the G7 Play at the time, which was USB-C, but a lot of other manufacturers like LG, the Motorola E came out a year after, and that was micro USB. So some of these, you know, oddball phones did have micro. So at least Samsung didn't put micro USB on this. But the A01 had micro USB, international version, not US. So, more Samsung blow. I hate, especially nowadays with these newer Samsungs. Not this one specifically, but like the A16 and stuff like that. There was a lot more Samsung bloat than there is on these older devices. You think these older devices have a lot? Go buy like an A16 on One UI 7 or 8. It is bloated to all hell. So we are set up. Let's finish. Let's go to our home screen and see how this is. As you can see, this is already taking a while to load. So that might distribute or whatever on how this phone's going to actually run. But this, man, I will get more into depth on this screen. But this screen has amazing colors. Amazing. And there we go, some US Cellular shit. I hate this. Downloads a bunch of stuff so they can make money. Never used to do that. So I'm going to get some apps downloaded. I'm going to take this and I'm just going to put the screen time out to 30 minutes. And turn off adaptive brightness. Not on. Is there a no adaptive brightness? No, there's not. That's weird. So there's actually no sensor in here for adaptive brightness. I didn't think I would ever say that. Wow. Pretty much everyone knows nowadays, like on these newer Samsung phones, you could scroll down here and turn on this adaptive brightness, and it actually sets the brightness for what lighting you're in. So if I put this right up to the light here, the brightness cranks, and then it's going to adjust. Watch. As you can see, the brightness is going down. It's adjusting to the light, kind of to prevent the screen from being too bright or too low. I personally turn it off because I don't like it, but desks don't have it, and pretty much every phone has adaptive brightness that I know of. That's pretty bad. I'm not sure if the A01 had it, but that's crazy. I didn't think this thing wouldn't have it. But yeah, I'm going to get some apps installed once these crappy apps uninstall. And we'll get right back to you. Okay, so that absolutely took forever just to install 6 apps. It installed, I kid you not, like 20 apps. So I uninstalled all those, and then it reinstalled them. I kid you not. These US Cellular phones are worse than the straight talk phones with installing apps. And let alone, this phone's slow. So it took forever to install these apps. Just these little applications here. It took way too long. All right, let's move right into it. All right, device info. Let's look at what we're running here. Android 11. So super old software, 2021 software. Still not bad for a 2019 phone. Getting 2 years of updates isn't terrible. It runs pretty good on it, actually. A little bit laggy, but not terrible. The processor is an Exynos 7884B. Have no idea what that is. But so far it's running not the greatest. It has a 720p screen. It's a 60 hertz screen, so not great. It's a 5.8 inch, so very tiny screen, but I like that. Very pocketable. The screen bezels are actually pretty thin here, compared to, older budget phones. The bottom one's a little thicker, but the sides are actually pretty thin and everything, so it's not bad. The screen quality is definitely really good for 720p. I cannot pick out the pixels here. Actually looks really good. And again, that coating is very nice. It has a little teardrop, but yeah, not a bad screen. This is pretty bad. 2 gigabytes of RAM and 32 gigabytes of storage. Now, this was pretty mainstream for the time in 2019. I've even seen some with 16 gigabytes of storage, which is pretty brutal. But it wasn't bad, actually. 2 gigabytes of RAM nowadays, though, definitely unusable. Same thing with 32 gigs of storage. You do have the micro SD card, which helps a little, but yeah. There's no sort of RAM boost on this. They didn't implement that yet, so not the greatest. Cameras, 8 megapixel on the back and 5 megapixel on the front, just a single on the rear, so no sort of ultra wide, no portrait mode, stuff like that. We'll get a little more in depth later with that. And only a 3,000 milliamp hour battery, so not the greatest specifications in the world. Okay, let's first try out Facebook. Okay, so Facebook loaded up just fine. And the scrolling experience is a little bit laggy, but overall, not too bad. Not the worst I've seen, especially coming from, that, and it's showing some info. So, yeah, Facebook runs fine. And look, dude, it is still installing things. I've installed like 24 apps already. And here's 2 more. Oh, great. US Cellular freaking sucks with that. Never buy a phone from them. Their service may be good, but if you buy a phone from them, especially a cheap one, it didn't happen with my Pixel. I bought that on US Cellular, but these cheaper phones, yeah, terrible. Okay, Instagram. Enough with the rant there. Loads up. It's a little slow and laggy. Yeah, pretty laggy on the Instagram. But, let's try out Reels. Wow, it's pretty slow. See how these speakers kind of bump. Oh, they're actually not bad. Very laggy on Reels. I actually didn't see a phone perform this bad on Instagram so far, I believe. Wow. I don't know if that was copyright, but yeah. Pretty slow and laggy. So Instagram, it runs, but it ain't the fastest thing in the world. Oh, and it's because it's installing more stuff. Boy. Now it's installing Chime. This is pissing me off. This is stupid. God. I will break this phone. I will break this phone. Come on. Uninstall. There you go. All right. TikTok Lite Edition. Because do not try TikTok regular on these phones. They will crash and they will blow up. So, TikTok Lite. Okay. TikTok Lite's loaded up. Actually running pretty good. So, actually, pretty damn good. Not bad for... Again, it's TikTok Lite, so it ain't the greatest. But, pretty smooth scrolling. Yeah. Oh, when it lags. This is one of the worst experiences I've ever had on the channel. With installing random apps and being very laggy. I feel like this is worse than the A10s. Just because it keeps installing apps. And it's not this phone's issue. It's US Cellular. It says setup complete now. So hopefully we should be good. Let's look at this camera real quick. Because I remember that it wasn't bad back in the day. We have just 1x and just a 2x digital zoom. 8 megapixels. It's going to be 1080p at 30 FPS or 720p at 30 FPS video. And we are going to be getting just Pro and Panorama. No portrait, no slow motion, no time-lapse, no this and that. Just your standard point and shoot. Very bare bones here. But the actual pictures, they didn't come out bad back in the day. Let's see if they still come out pretty good. If it even wants to take a picture. Actually, for 2019, like $150, $200, not bad. This is not a bad picture. Macro action. Yeah, not a bad picture. Especially, for how old and how budget. So, last thing we're going to do is run a Geekbench 5 test and see how this thing performs. I doubt if it's going to break 100. This thing is performing absolutely diabolically terrible. So, let's run that. Okay, so I'm not sure how long that took, but we got a single core score of 204 and a multi-core score of 424. So I thought it would be worse. I thought it would be just barely doing 100. So it's not terrible compared to other phones at this time, but yeah, still pretty bad. So is it still usable? No, I wouldn't use this at all nowadays. Maybe as a video phone or something, but that's my verdict. So thank you guys for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.